Intelligent Ramblings with your host, Bill Lofton. Co-hosted by Gary Glenn and William Howington with help from John Cohn.
Good evening. Welcome to Intelligent Ramblings. I'm your host, Bill Lofton, with my co-host on the top, Mr. Gary Glenn, and on the bottom, Mr. John Cohn. Well, we are in the midst of college football season, and there's lots going on. Anybody watch the Indiana-Oregon game last week? It was a pretty good game. With Oregon is now not part of the unbeatens, as Indiana prevailed at 30-20.
That is not the result I was expecting going into the game.
I don't think a lot of people are expecting it. Indiana's better than we thought they were. Maybe they can give Ohio State a run for their money when they play later on this month or next month. I know it's coming up near the end of the season.
I don't know. Don't keep up with that league as much as I guess I should.
But also, Ole Miss, who we expected to just trounce Washington State, actually beat them by 3 points. And it was close. They wasn't far off 3 points either. It was close.
I watched that game, and I think Washington State surprised Ole Miss. They weren't expecting much of a contest, I don't think. And Ole Miss seemed kind of flat, like even the whole game. But they played well. I mean, obviously they played well enough to win, but and their offense looked good at times.
Looking ahead to UGA, maybe?
Yeah, maybe so.
Yeah, that's what I've read this week, that a lot of folks are saying that Ole Miss wasn't paying attention to Washington State at all, and they've been preparing for Georgia for the last month. And we will go into that game in detail soon. One game I really enjoyed watching was the Oklahoma-Texas game, where the Longhorns, they hooked them and took out Oklahoma. And Metier, is that his name? Quarterback for Oklahoma?
Metier.
He played, but he didn't look normal. He looked like
rusty.
He was hurried, looked rusty, and it really showed. I think he threw 3 interceptions and definitely did not look like the quarterback I've seen play earlier this year. But I can say that I was the only one out of us 4 that picked Texas, which helped my record a little bit. And we'll see that later on in the show. Battle of the Unbeatens again, Alabama and Missouri. Alabama won by 3 points. I understood that game a little bit when I first started seeing the scores. Missouri's got a pretty good team, but then I started researching it later, and it seems to me that Missouri hadn't played anybody. But we'll talk about that later. I think that Alabama's got a team. I would have thought Alabama would have beat them worse if I would have known what I know about Missouri and what I know about Alabama. Then we had the controversial but wonderful win when Georgia took on Auburn, our hated rival, 20-10. And I watched that game, obviously, and I'll have to disagree with the referees. I mean, the ball crossed the plane. I saw it. 90,000 fans saw it. Untold millions of fans on TV saw it. And I think all but one person, the referee, thought it was a touchdown.
No, I've seen people that have seen it frame by frame, and it was very, very close. And the ruling on the field, remember, has to have undisputable evidence for it to be overturned.
Right.
And that was not undisputable.
Oh, it was very disputable.
By very nature of the controversy.
We're talking centimeters. We're talking like that much difference.
Exactly. But you know what? My opinion and your opinion and everybody there's opinion don't make worth a hill of beans, because it's the people in the striped shirts in the replay booth. Their opinion is what matters. And they said it was not a touchdown. So end of discussion.
End of discussion. Isn't it amazing, though, that a game that lasts 4 hours with thousands and thousands and thousands of people watching it can be determined by that much distance?
Well, that's why you
be it an offsides penalty at the wrong time or something else like that, but it's a game of inches, as many have said. And that,
it is, and you know, and sometimes it comes down to a play like that. But then again, if other things had happened during the game, it might not have come down to that. So you single out that play, or do you single out a drop pass? Do you single out another call? I mean, you know, you can sit there and start breaking things down. I mean, obviously it turned on that particular thing, and Georgia immediately started playing better after that.
Well,
I mean,
you got to look at it.
Play of the game.
If Auburn would have scored and would have gone up 17-0, they still would have lost. Because Georgia scored 20 in the second half and blanked Auburn the whole game. So you can look at it that way as well.
Sure. All kinds of ways to look at it. But that one's water over the dam and under the bridge. And now Georgia's got Ole Miss, and that's going to be tough.
That will be tough. And just look at the Michigan USC. Well, I thought that Michigan was going to win, number one. And I surely didn't see them losing 31-13. Michigan is they've got a freshman quarterback, number one, and I mean, he's 5-star, all everything, most wanted quarterback in the country. But sometimes he plays like a freshman quarterback, and they lost their running backs from last year. And they're just not the Michigan that we saw for the last, 2 years. Last year, they weren't as good as they were the year before last when they won the national championship. And one other thing I wanted to bring up, Bill Belichick at North Carolina. This guy is like, 800 years old? Coached, won the Super Bowl 8 or 9 times.
Lots of times.
Thought it was the greatest of all time. I've heard that said. I don't believe it, but one of the greatest coaches ever in the NFL. And I think most of it was due to their quarterback, because as soon as his quarterback left, or they ran him off, or whatever happened, that's up to somebody else's determination. He didn't win as much. And it was quick that he went down. But they thought he was this next coming, second coming at North Carolina. He's going to turn it into a pro program, yada, 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 you know. Shows up there with his 23-year-old girlfriend. Did you know he went to Nantucket on vacation during the season, this season, with his girlfriend, his 23-year-old girlfriend? Now, if the guy's got a 23-year-old girlfriend, I don't really mind. I mean, more power to him. But, you know, and she is pretty. But to take her to Nantucket during the season for a little mini vacay, what college coach does that? I know Kirby doesn't.
I think a lot of those coaches probably spend the week in the field house, and they get to see their families on Saturday after the game. And it's like that all season.
Well, I know for a fact that Kirby Smart's family celebrates Christmas in like June. They literally have a Christmas celebration, decorate the inside the house, the whole deal, but they do it in June.
Wow.
Because December is major recruiting season.
Well, Bill must have had that little vacation as part of the hiring package. If he didn't, then I would say he's probably caused a lot of trouble for himself.
Yeah.
You know,
I'd like to talk.
Go ahead, Gary.
I'd like to talk to his pharmacist too.
Yeah. That would be interesting. Well, has anybody got anything else about last week's games?
Excuse me. I'm going to chime in really quick on Georgia Auburn. I think, like Gary, that they couldn't overturn that goal line call and fumble. And, it was just centimeters one way or the other. Who can really tell? But hats off to C.J. Allen and Raylan Wilson for punching that ball out. That was like some heads-up defensive play.
Yeah.
That was really good. If you kids out there listening, go back and watch that if you want to see how to cause a fumble, because they did it.
Yeah, he was aiming for it. That was the whole thing, was looking for it. You saw him draw back his fist and just punch it. It was beautiful.
Well, and my other observation is that we're going to continue to see people for the rest of the season who are going to win some they shouldn't win and lose some they shouldn't lose. That's just the nature of football, particularly college football.
I'm in full agreement.
That's part of the reason. One of the reasons you just have to love college football. It's there's so many variables like that come into it, and just when you think you've got it figured out, college football does something that you've never seen before. It's just great. It's my favorite sport.
All right, well, let's go to a quick commercial so we can pay for the show. And if you would like to use our QR code top left of the screen to go to our website to see all our picks and results. And also you can go there and find our comments and make your comments. And also you can email us from there and let us know what you think. We'd love to hear from you.
Or you can ask us about sponsorships. We'll be happy to welcome you aboard.
Absolutely.
Intelligent Ramblings is brought to you in part by Pat Williamson, a proud Dragon alumnus and a strong supporter of Jefferson athletics and academics.
Well, like Gary said, and the sign says, you can contact us at intelligentramblings.com, and we'd love to have you as a sponsor.
Just in passing, but Pat Williamson was one of the better all-around athletes that ever came out of Jefferson High School. I'm talking about all around. He was a good football player. He was a good wrestler, and they won state championships in track, and he was part of that. So we appreciate Pat helping us out.
Absolutely.
Yes, we do.
Y'all ready to do some picks?
Yeah, let's do it.
Here we go. Ohio State at Wisconsin.
Well, Luke Pickle for Wisconsin, Ryan Day for Ohio State. That's the coaching matchup. The Badgers are 2-4. Ohio State is 6-0 and are rolling. Buckeyes, one of the best defenses in the country, and they have a balanced offense. The Badgers have fallen apart on offense and lost 4 straight. Ohio State gives up only 229 yards a game and under 7 points a game. The Buckeyes quarterback Julian Sains already thrown for almost 1,500 yards, 15 touchdowns, and only 3 picks. 2 really good receivers and a freshman linebacker already being looked at by the NFL. They got a running back also by the name of Bo Jackson. Not that Bo Jackson, but he's pretty good. So this one might get ugly fast. And I think Ohio State is going to whip them, and I think they're going to cover the spread and maybe then some. It's it's a kind of a state rivalry there, but I still think Ohio State right now is the number one team in the country. They should be the number one team in the country, and unless they do something really weird down the stretch and stub their toe, they'll be the top seed for the playoffs going in.
I will have to wholeheartedly agree with that, Gary. Ohio State has got, well, they pretty much got everything. Receivers, quarterback, running backs, good offense, good defense. Ohio State's going to be hard to stop. And I would agree with that. And I also agree with them covering.
I'm with you, Bill. I've got Ohio State to win and cover the spread. And William Howington, who's, as you said, out on assignment, he got his picks in. Thank you, William. A little bit earlier this week, and he's got Ohio State to win and cover as well.
So we all think it's going to get ugly.
Yes. And it may not take long.
Louisville at number 2, Miami. Miami's picked by 13.5.
Yeah, this game is on Friday night, high school football night, but it is on Friday night at 7 p.m. on ESPN. ESPN Analytics gives Miami an 85% chance of winning. The coaches, Louisville is Jeff Brome, and Miami is Mario Cristobal. Miami's ranked 8th on the ESPN Football Power Index, and Louisville is down at 38th. Miami has put together a 5-0 start to their season with wins over some good football teams, Notre Dame, Florida, and Florida State, to name a few. Their offense is good, not great, but they score when they need to. Their defense is good, but struggles to get off the field on third down. Does that sound familiar? And Louisville, on the other hand, is 4-1 after getting surprised by University of Virginia last week, that is a good little football team. Their wins are over some lesser teams, for example, Eastern Kentucky and Bowling Green. They're going to be 4-2 after going against Miami in Hard Rock Stadium. I've got Miami to win this conference matchup and cover the spread.
Well, I will have to say that I will agree with you on both. Carson Beck is, when he's got protection, he's dangerous. He can throw the ball as good as anybody in the country. And if his life depends on it, he'll actually run, and he can. But he is, as of now, made a real good decision on the transfer.
I think he's made a big difference in Miami's team this year. I think they're a lot more stable and a lot more productive thanks to Carson Beck.
I would agree with all of that. And, like Bill says, when he has time, he can put it on the money. So I think Miami wins, and I think they cover.
Williams' votes were the same. Miami wins and covers the spread.
Michigan State at number 3, Indiana. Well, we saw what Indiana did to Oregon last week. So this one probably will get crazy. Following a 38-13 loss to UCLA on Saturday, October the 11th, Michigan State, who's 3-3, suddenly looked like one of the worst teams in the Big Ten. And now they're gearing up to face who could be the conference best team in undefeated Indiana. Michigan State seems entirely unprepared to face Indiana, currently the number 3 ranked team in the country. After their homecoming loss to UCLA on Saturday, the question for the Spartans revolves less around if they have a chance to win and more around if they'll show any signs of quality they showed in earlier performances against Boston College and USC. This could be a significant test for second-year coach Jonathan Smith, who could soon face calls to be bought out of his contract. The Hoosiers, coming off surprise appearance in the 2024 college football playoff, may have 2 of the best wins in all of college football in the season so far, with a 63-10 victory over Illinois and a 30-20 win on the road over Oregon, who was previously the number 2 team in the country. Indiana for the win and to cover the spread, and it might get real messy for Michigan State.
Oh, we're getting into the point of the season now where you're at the midway point, and you're going to have to start doing what I talked about last week, the style points. You're going to have to get some quality wins, and they've got to be over quality programs, or at least programs that have been quality in the past. And you're going to have to leave no doubt in the minds of the people that are going to be picking the playoff field who you are and what you can do. I think Indiana wins, and I think they cover for that reason. If not for that reason alone, there are other reasons too, but just for that reason too.
I'm in agreement. I've got Indiana to win and to cover the spread, and that is the biggest point spread in all of the 12 games, and I still think they'll cover it. And William felt the same way. He's got Indiana to win and to cover the spread.
Number 4, Texas A&M at Arkansas.
All right, Texas A&M, the Aggies against the Razorbacks. Mike Elko is coaching A&M, and Arkansas has got an interim coach because they fired their other coach, and this is Bobby Petrino, a familiar face and not a particularly favorite of a lot of people. But anyway, he is the interim coach there, and they are 2-4. And the A&M offense is really good. They're almost 459 yards and 35 points a game. But as good as the offense is, the defense may be better. They got NFL prospects all across the board. The Razorbacks struggle. They give up almost 5 yards a rush on first downs. The really long big plays they're pretty good on, but they also give up other big plays. Arkansas turns it over a lot. They're -5 in the turnover margin. So you got an undefeated team against a team that's 2-4 with an interim coach. I'm surprised that A&M is only a 7.5 point favorite. I pick them to win, and I pick them to cover that, even though they're at Arkansas.
I agree, and I hope that I think Elko is a great coach. He came from Duke, and he turned that program around. I hope Arkansas has enough character not to hire Petrino full-time, because we all know he's not a good person. And to me, if you're not a good person, you're not a good coach. The guy's got a lot of history, and you're basically saying we're willing to give up our character to win, because he is proven as a pretty good coach. I still don't like him.
You're not alone.
A&M. Texas A&M and to cover ×3.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, I've got Texas A&M to win and to cover the spread. I'm kind of hoping Arkansas puts up a fight, just for their own sake. And they could make it difficult for Texas A&M in the early going, but as Gary was reviewing Texas A&M's team makeup, I mean, it's just, they're so good. Anyway, and William picks the same way.
Okay.
Number 5, Ole Miss at number 9, Georgia.
Wow. So I'm so glad I got to do this. And every week when we line up the games and do them, we do the analysis amongst ourselves in the same order, but the games move around, so it kind of randomizes, and so you don't really know who you're going to be talking about until we decide on the 12 games we're going to pick each week. So number 5, Ole Miss at number 9, Georgia, Saturday, 3:30 p.m. on ABC. This is one of those games. There are 2 or 3 like this in the schedule this week. Ole Miss is ranked number 5. Georgia's ranked at ninth, but Georgia is favored, probably because of the home field advantage and whatever else the people that come up with the spread think is important. ESPN Analytics gives Georgia a 70% chance of winning. The coaches are, of course, for Georgia, Kirby Smart, and Ole Miss, Lane Kiffin. Georgia comes in at 6 in the ESPN Football Power Index, and Ole Miss is at 12th. And as I said, this is one of those odd games where Ole Miss is ranked higher than Georgia and has a better record, yet Georgia is favored to win. I think this is the best game of the weekend. And yes, I know there's Tennessee at Alabama and LSU's going to Vanderbilt, but I watched Ole Miss play Washington State at home last week, and they somewhat remind me of Tennessee. Really good offense. They move with almost as much tempo as Tennessee. Good defense. They move to the ball well, and they're well coached. I don't think they're as good as they were last year, particularly on the defensive line. So here's how I see this game progressing. Dr. Jekyll, Georgia, starts slow on offense and defense, and by mid-second quarter, Ole Miss is up by 10 to 17 points. Georgia's defense wakes up, and they get a couple of 3-and-outs on Ole Miss. Georgia manages to tie the game or get within 1 score of Ole Miss before halftime. After the half, Georgia's change to Mr. Hyde is complete, and the defense continues to stifle Ole Miss. Georgia keeps their offense on the field, and the Ole Miss defense, not as deep as Georgia's, gets overextended. Georgia ends up winning and covers the spread. Caveat viewer. This is a new one. You remember caveat emptor and caveat vendor. This is caveat viewer. Ole Miss has a potent offense and a good defense. If Georgia can't keep Ole Miss in reach in the first half, or we make mistakes and don't take care of the ball, I think I say that every week, this could end badly. Ole Miss could end up looking a lot more like Alabama than they look like Tennessee, and Georgia's new home victory streak could end at 1. So I've got Georgia to win and cover the spread. And a quick side note, I'm going to the game with my grandson, and I could not be more excited. So
I bet.
If I see y'all out there, we'll wave. And William also has Georgia to win, and let me make absolutely sure about this. William has Georgia to win and not cover the spread.
I went back and forth on this one, to tell you the truth, and but I appreciate your metaphorical references to Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. I thought that was rather
that was
clever.
very good. Very good.
They are just like two different teams between.
Well, and the two different teams, we saw that against Auburn. They looked. I mean, Auburn was kicking our canine ass.
Oh
for
yeah.
the first part of that game. I mean, they were dominating the line of scrimmage, and we just looked like we could get out of our own way. Then all of a sudden, boom! It's like you said, they flipped the page, or somebody flipped the switch, and all of a sudden they're in Georgia, and they wound up winning by 10. And I think that's going to be this kind of game too. I think they're going to cover the spread, but not by much, and I think Georgia wins.
Well, I wrote on Facebook, as I always do at the end of the Georgia game, dogs win. But I also added, hey, I'm not going to bother watching the first half anymore. I'm just going to tune in at halftime and watch the rest of the game. Because you sit there and you're just like ready to, if you could just grab one of the players and choke them, you want to. And then the second half, you're like, oh, man, here they are.
I was texting during the game with our friend Andy Wilkes, and we were just like, we could not believe how much better, sharper, prepared, ready to go Auburn was than Georgia. And I think I made the comment that Auburn's offensive line was just, in the first quarter, they just mauled us.
That's
it
funny.
Was not pretty.
That was funny. I was texting with Andy too.
Good.
The same time, the whole game.
His final comment at the end of the game was unbelievable.
Good game.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, look for a good one this week. Don't bother me after 3:30 on Saturday afternoon for about 3 or 4 hours.
Absolutely not. Number 11, Tennessee at number 6, Alabama, 7:30 p.m. on ABC. Alabama's picked by 9.5. Tennessee football survived a late push from Arkansas on Saturday night, securing a 34-31 win to improve to 2-1 in conference play and 5-1 on the season. Alabama is also coming off a close win, beating Missouri 27-24 in Columbia. The Tigers had the Tide on the ropes, but couldn't finish the job late in the fourth quarter. Alabama, which comes in the game with a record of 5-1 and a 3-0 conference record, having won against number 5 Georgia, number 16 Vanderbilt, and number 14 Missouri. I believe Alabama's got too much for the Volunteers to handle, and they're playing at Alabama, which is always intent. Alabama for the win and to cover the spread.
I think Alabama may be a little bit deeper at several key positions. And I think that may tell the tale, particularly in the second half.
Yeah.
Tennessee's good, and Tennessee can run, and Tennessee's got a powerful offense, but Alabama and Tuscaloosa is going to be tough. I pick Alabama to win. I pick them to cover too.
I am the same way. I think we all know Tennessee is good. I mean, it took overtime for Georgia to beat them, but they're in Tuscaloosa, and this Alabama team has turned into something special. I think they have a great football team, and they're going to win and cover the spread. And son of a gun, so same thing for William. He said he's got Alabama and for them to cover the spread.
Number 10, LSU at number 17, Vanderbilt.
All righty. Well, you got a couple of teams. Brant Kelly's Tigers and Clark Lee's Commodores are both 5-1 on the year. And this one might be pretty good. The Bayou Bengals have struggled in the red zone, and Vandy's defense may be improved. Quarterback Garrett Nussmeier of LSU needs to be more consistent. And you got Vandy quarterback Diego Pavia. He is a dual threat. And this one, as I said, may be pretty good. However, the LSU defense has been improving. Vandy needs to cut out its mistakes and turnovers. And I think LSU does enough to win this one. So even though Vandy is favored by 2.5, I'm going to pick LSU and a slight a slight upset over there. And this one may come down to the defenses of both teams. And I think LSU may be a little bit better on defense than Vandy.
Well, I really like that quarterback from Vanderbilt. He's got a lot of macho to him. He tells you, I'm going to run it at you. Here I come. Vanderbilt's going to kick your butt. I just think he is the ultimate college quarterback. Reminds me of
As I
Tebow.
said, he's a dual threat. There's no question about it.
Well, he reminds me of Tebow a little bit, and I think he can probably throw better than Tebow, though. But I'm going to have to go with Vanderbilt. I just think LSU is inconsistent, and they're playing at Vanderbilt, and I think that crowd will get Pablo fired up, and they will take out the Bayou Bengals, and they'll be done for the season.
Yeah, I have Vanderbilt, who's favored by 2.5 points. I have them to win and cover the spread. I think I'll just put it this way. Something is not quite right at LSU. And
Very well put.
I can't put my finger on it, but I think Vanderbilt's kind of laying behind the log waiting for this one. And I will say that William picked LSU was his choice.
So it's 2 of us for LSU and 2 of us for Vandy. I mean, you even got the odds makers. It's a 2.5 point game. That's what they say.
It's so close.
So everybody expects it to be. Everybody expects it to be close. I'm just giving the nod to LSU defense. Now, if Vandy gets up and starts rolling, it could go the other way. But I'm gonna stick with my original pick. So there you go.
Number 12, Georgia Tech at Duke.
Really quick, here's a comment from Fran Cone. Thank you, Fran. We're hoping they win big too. So number 12, Georgia Tech at Duke on Saturday, 12 p.m. on ESPN. Duke is favored by 1.5 points. So all Georgia Tech has to do is, all Duke has to do is win by 2 points, a safety. If they can just get a safety somewhere in the game, they could win this. Probably not, but they could. So ESPN, here's what I don't get. ESPN Analytics gives Duke a 62% chance of winning. The coaches are Georgia Tech's Brent Keys and Duke's Manny Diaz. Tech comes in at 35th in the ESPN Football Power Index. Duke is at 33. These are 2 evenly matched teams on paper. Manny Diaz is now in his 2nd year at Duke, and he has the team playing their way into a good season. The odds makers must favor Duke because of that, plus the fact they're at home and they're coming off a bye week. Not so fast, young prognosticator. Georgia Tech is well aware that this game will separate them from the rest of the ACC pack. I think they crank the volume on the power spread offense to 11. I think Duke's defense will spend way too much time on the field in the first half, and by the fourth quarter, that will cause a lot of problems for the Blue Devils. So I've got Georgia Tech to win, and so Duke, of course, does not cover the spread.
I'm picking Tech as well.
Yeah, and I'm picking Tech as well. As long as that quarterback for Tech is healthy, you got a chance if you're Georgia
Which
Tech.
I think he is healthy, actually.
And,
Yeah.
and Duke has got the crap beat out of him by Illinois. So, you know, I do not understand why Duke has got the odds in their favor, or they're predicted to win, or whatever. It makes no sense to me at all. Duke's not even ranked. I guess because they are at home, and then it is after a bye week and all that other stuff. But I don't think Tech's gonna have any problem with them at all.
Well, you know, and that bye week is a double-edged sword sometimes. You know, it comes at a good time if you're banged up and you need some time off to heal up. But if you're playing pretty well, but maybe this is what they're thinking about. Duke needed some time off. I'm still picking Tech. So,
Yep,
obviously not to cover. What did Williams say?
The same. We're all in agreement. This is Georgia Tech times 4 for us.
I picked them not to cover, though.
Yes.
Well, yeah. Duke's favored, so Tech wins.
Yeah. USC, number 20, at number 13, Notre Dame. Well, the annual showdown between USC and Notre Dame sees both teams ranked in the top 25. This aids the Irish in terms of their college football playoff push, although they've yet to beat a ranked team this season. The Irish have enjoyed some easy wins of late, beating Boise State, Arkansas, and Purdue, but haven't been pushed for 4 quarters since their early season losses to Miami and Texas A&M, when most of the world wrote them off. The Trojans, meanwhile, are coming off some Big Ten wins over Michigan State and Purdue, including an impressive 31-13 win over Michigan. According to ESPN, Notre Dame has a 68.8% chance to beat USC. I will have to agree with Notre Dame for the win, but I think it will be closer than the 8.5-point spread, and Notre Dame will not cover.
I understand your points. I think they will, and I think it's because of what you said. They need to beat a ranked team, and they need to show that it was not a fluke. I mean, they'll take it if it's under that spread, but I think they might just cover that. They got to score 9 points more than USC, and I think they might do that. Although, as you said, USC has played well. I just think Notre Dame is looking to get it back into the playoffs. They're playing really well right now, and it is at Notre Dame.
I'm thinking USC is making a resurgence as one of the premium teams or premier teams in college football, as they were years ago, but they're still a step back from being there.
Well, I think this is a game with so much history. It's like almost like last week, Michigan at USC. Just 2 classic games back to back. I've got Notre Dame to win and not cover the spread, and William is going with USC to win.
Okay.
Good for William. Good for him. Number 14, Oklahoma at South Carolina.
All righty. Well, you got a pretty good coach in Brent Venables on the side of Oklahoma and Shane Beamer on the side of South Carolina. Sooners are 5-1, and the Gamecocks are 3-3. And you can expect a strong defense of the Sooners versus the explosive but inconsistent offense of the Gamecocks. Quarterback Lanaris Sellers has been brilliant at times and other times not so brilliant. Playmakers like Dylan Stewart, who can pressure the quarterback, but the offense is not as good both in run blocking and pass protection for the Gamecocks. Sooner quarterback John Mateer should be better after he went a very pedestrian 20 for 38 with 202 yards and 3 picks. But keep in mind, against Texas, he was sacked 5 times. I don't think he's going to get sacked 5 times against South Carolina. I look for Oklahoma to bounce back, prove they've got a better team than they showed against Texas, and I think they win, and I think they cover.
I'll agree with you. I think that Oklahoma's pissed off after that loss to Texas because they got pretty much embarrassed on national TV, thinking they were going to come in there and just whip Texas when their quarterback was ruled eligible for the game. I think if Linares is playing well, I think it'll be real close. And they're playing in Columbia, so that makes a difference as well. But I do think Oklahoma will win and will cover.
Yeah, I have Oklahoma to win and cover the spread. I think their defense is outstanding, and the offense will do better. Basically, Gary's analysis is spot on. And William is in agreement. He's got Oklahoma to win and cover also.
Number 23, Utah at number 15, BYU.
It's the rivalry.
This is a good rivalry, and it's another of those games. Number 23, Utah, is favored by 3.5 points over the higher ranked BYU team. This is on Saturday at 8 p.m. on Fox. ESPN Analytics has this game pretty much dead even. The coaches are Utah Kyle Whittingham, who's in his 20th year as the coach at Utah. And BYU is Kalani Sitake. Utah comes in at 14th in the ESPN Football Power Index, and BYU is at 19th. And these teams are really evenly matched, which makes this year's Utah We Run This State game so unpredictable. Utah has one loss to Texas Tech, who are 6-0 and ranked 7th. The difference in this game is going to be BYU's running back, L.J. Martin, who's having a good year and was named Big 12 Player of the Week last week after BYU beat Arizona in 2 overtimes. And I think he is the difference. If the teams are this close, I think he's going to make the difference. And so I have BYU to win. And really quick, Utah. William has Utah to win but not cover the spread.
Well, I think BYU is going to win, and for some of the reasons you said, John, plus, BYU's been pretty good for a while now. And they're playing at their place, and I think that might be worth a few points right there. So I think they win. But this one might be pretty good here. This, as you said, people have got them picked almost dead even. I mean, a 3.5 point game is almost a pick 'em game. But I think because of the home field, I think I give it to BYU.
I agree. Picking BYU, and they're at home. Missouri, number 16, Missouri, at Auburn. Missouri is 5-1, but they have not beaten anyone of quality other than South Carolina. And I think the Carolina quarterback was hurt during that game. They have handily won over lower competition, Central Arkansas, Kansas, University of Louisiana, UMass, and only beat South Carolina by 9 points. But then again, their only loss was to Alabama by 3 points. Auburn, on the other hand, started off on fire by beating Baylor, Ball State, and South Alabama. But then it got rough for the Tigers, losing the last 3 weeks to Oklahoma by 7, Texas A&M by 6, and Georgia by 10. And in 2, there were very questionable calls by the refs, which definitely might have changed the outcome. So I'm thinking Auburn has some good luck owed to them, and I'm going with a slight upset Auburn for the win.
Well, you make a good point, Bill. And but the fact is that Missouri is pretty good, and against everybody but Alabama, and that was a narrow loss. I think Auburn's still smarting. I'm not sure that they have recovered yet from that very, very disappointing game against Georgia. So, and since the Missouri, those Tigers are only, what is it, 1.5 favorite? I think I'm going to go with Missouri, the visitors. I think I'm going to go with the visitors and to cover.
Awesome. I have Missouri to win, and I think the Auburn Tigers are what was Gary saying about them being, they're just kind of deflated, and I don't think they'll be able to bounce back from the last 3 weeks worth of games. And so I've got Missouri to win and cover the spread, as does William.
Well,
it can go the other way too. They could say we got something to prove, but I'm still going to stay with Missouri.
If Auburn played like they did the first 28 minutes against Georgia in the first half for a solid hour, they can beat anybody. I mean, they just were on fire. I've never seen anybody look that good in the first half and look that bad in the second half. That quarterback was lost the second half. He was just like, oh, well, I'm done, but I'm still out here. And if he can put it together for one solid game, I don't think there's anybody can beat him. But because they've got a good or decent running attack, decent passing attack, the kids can run, no doubt about that. And he can throw. He was throwing missiles in the first half. Second half, he was just lofting the ball. I mean, just throwing it up or throwing it in the ground or something. It was just, never seen anybody change that much from half to half. So that's why I'm going with Auburn. Well, let's see some statistics on Intelligent Ramblings. Picks each week. Got to get close so I can actually see it. It looks like, why don't we go to the next one, which is, that's for each week. And you can find all these graphs, which are skillfully and wonderfully done by Sir John Cone, our technical advisor. Season total, Gary, you're at 74. Williams at 76. John, you're at 74. And look who's coming up from the end. Started off 5 behind everybody, and I'm at 73%. So look out. Dog's moving up.
Bill is on a roll.
I'm on a roll.
There you go. Go for it.
That Texas game helped me out a lot last week.
Yeah, and I picked Oklahoma in the one game where Texas plays like they probably should have been playing all along.
Yeah.
Man. Been with Texas, I think, every week except last week. Then they win. Okay. Fine.
All right, we covered the spread. It looks like Gary topped out at 67%, and William is at 58%. John, you're up at 67, and I'm down at 58%. And for the season, Gary, you're down on the bottom, and it ain't close. William, you're on top. It ain't close. And there's John at 55 and me at 53%. We still got a chance. It's only halfway through the season.
Yeah. Well, I'm pretty good at picking. The spread ain't my thing.
I'm gonna go back and review the spreadsheet where we're calculating the spread totals for the season, because it just seems like, I don't know, it seems like it ought to be closer than that. So we'll have updates during the week this week.
Sounds good. Big
Thank you, John.
Thank you to John Cone, who is
It's
a wizard of technical.
it's fun, and I think we're about ready to license this spreadsheet to ESPN. I mean, we
They
beat
need
their
it.
pants off every week. They need all the help they can get.
Yeah.
Give me a
ESPN
call,
is not-
guys. We'll come up with some kind of licensing arrangement, and I'll provide technical support because I don't know. You need some help.
They need some
Well-
help because they are not close to us.
John loves football and he loves numbers. So there you go.
Weird combination, but here you see the result.
Well, I like violent sports and Broadway shows. So what do you do?
All right, we're going to have a quick commercial and then we'll come back for our summarization. All right, we're back, and how many weeks in the season was it? Was this week 8 or 7? This is 8 coming up.
This is coming up on 8. This week
So
is week
we're
8.
basically in the middle of halfway through the season.
Yeah, and high schools are more than halfway through their season. They got a few games left, then their playoffs are going to start.
Yeah.
It goes fast, brother.
I saw
Well,
Jefferson just trounced
wasn't close.
Utah. I didn't
No,
figure
it
it
was-
was going to be.
Well, they returned the kickoff, the opening kickoff,
Wow.
about 94 yards for a touchdown, and then they had a real weird thing happen in the end zone, bounced off somebody, and instead of East Hall scoring, they threw a pick, and then it was Katie bar the door after that, brother. The Dragons started to roll, and it was not pretty.
I
This
didn't
weekend,
think it
I don't know if my great grandniece Gracie Glenn's going to come home from Mississippi and all that hotty toddy stuff, but she must be. I know she's in her sorority over there now, and they're having a great time. And what a year to go to Ole Miss, right? Be a freshman there at Ole Miss, and they're having such a great football season. So
Well, it is
good on
absolutely-
Gracie, but I hope you're disappointed this week a little bit, sweetie.
Well, I'll be up in the mountains photographing a bike race up in North Carolina, somewhere north of Greenville and Travelers Rest. So if anybody happens to be in that area, stop by. It's not like I'll see you, but that's what I'm going to be doing.
Yeah. Well, be prepared for a heat wave to come back in. So I think maybe this weekend I'll change my clothes around and put up my summer stuff and get out the winter stuff. But so there's probably going to be 90 degrees sometime next week. So that's usually the way it happens with me.
Wow.
Thanks
Oh,
for
this is Gary's almanac. Okay.
Thanks for the update, Gary.
Yeah. The other thing is, if you ever got any time to kill, please get behind the Glens in any line whatsoever, because we always pick the one that moves the slowest in the whole store.
And that
It's some kind of karma, some kind of cosmic law.
All right, guys. Hope everybody has a great week. We appreciate everybody tuning in to us.
Thank you.
Those that watch us live and the ones that come back and listen to us, like we're a radio station. That way you don't have to look at us. Like I said earlier, please look at our QR code up to the corner of the left corner and click on that, and it'll take you to our website. And We have all kinds of information on there. Not only there's other stuff other than college football, but right now we're in college football mode. So go to the site. You can comment there. You can email us at intelligentramblings@gmail.com. And all that information and all the charts that we show every week is on our website. So please go there. And if you want some neat clothing or hat or anything else with this awesome logo you see in the right corner, then you take that and go to our website, and there's a spot on there for merchandise. So, and once this, again, as Gary said, we are looking for sponsors. So if you want to join the crew, let us know.
We're very reasonable.
Very reasonable. Hope everybody has a great week. Go Dogs.
Yep.
Thank you,
Go
everybody.
Dogs.
Go Dogs.